Popular activities include visiting a Sami village to learn more
Uau!
about their fascinating culture and visiting an ice hotel packed full of
Olá, pessoal, sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo desse canal. Nós somos cidadãos do terceiro mundo e nesse canal nós reagimos e aprendemos sobre o primeiro mundo. Nesse vídeo nós vamos reagir à viagem de inverno na Noruega, 7 dicas essenciais que você precisa saber.
Então aproveite a oportunidade, considere se inscrever no nosso canal, clique no gostei, compartilhe esse vídeo e visite o nosso Instagram para fazer mais sugestões de conteúdos como esse. E agora, vamos para a reação.
Welcome to Alta in northern Norway. I've just arrived here on Fred Olsen's Balmoral. It's January and -11. We've seen some fantastic northern lights on this trip so far, and many other independent travellers come to Alta at this time of year. But the winter can be brutal in Norway. Many people know because of climate change, the winters in Norway are actually pretty mild these days. But here in Alta, we've got temperatures of -11 today. It can often be -20 or even lower. So here today, I've decided to make this video for you to give you some tips about visiting Norway in the winter. So from dressing properly and wearing the right gear to knowing what to expect from the Northern Lights before you visit, so you make the most of your limited time here. Here is my guide to visiting Norway in the winter. Just before we get started, please do check out lifeinnorway.net for more on Alta, Northern Norway, the Norwegian winter, and all things Norway in English. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Know when to visit. Norway's winter is not just one season. It's a tale of 2 winters. November, December and January bring the dark winter, when daylight is scarce and snow isn't always guaranteed. Instead, you'll find rainy streets in the cities, but they're lit up with festive lights and bustling Christmas markets. If you're looking for snow-covered landscapes, February, March and early April is what I like to call the white winter. This is when Norway transforms into a true winter wonderland, with longer, brighter days, crisp air and thick blankets of snow in much of the country, but not all. On a recent Northern Lights cruise in October, many people on board were surprised to find there wasn't any snow around. Well, that's because snow typically arrives much later, especially in coastal areas. If snow is a must for your trip, aim for later in the winter when the chances are higher. One of the things I must talk about in Norway in the winter is the importance of wearing the right gear, bringing the right clothing and using it at the right time. Now, I meet many people, especially on the cruises, who have checked the weather forecast, for example, and they've seen it's going to be -5 degrees in Alta. And then they arrive on a day like this, it's actually -11 and it feels significantly colder because of the wind chill. Now, the weather forecast can be like that. It can be notoriously unreliable. The temperature can be very much colder than you thought it was going to be. The other thing is, -5 degrees might not sound very cold, but if you're going on a Northern Lights hunt or another outdoor activity, you're going to be outside in that temperature for potentially many hours. And especially at night, when there's no sun and it can be windy, it can feel significantly colder. And it's only really once you go inside that you realize how cold you actually are. And that can be very dangerous. So here's some guidance on what to bring when you come to Norway in terms of clothing.
É interessante porque a gente olha assim a Noruega no inverno e eu fico impressionada porque as estações elas são como roupas, né? Ela parece que veste o país e fica com uma aparência totalmente diferente, né? As estações fazem isso. Mas sobre isso que ele falou do frio, uma coisa que eu percebi é que nos comentários dos vídeos de vários países, principalmente os países que fazem muito frio, as pessoas sempre falam que não existe tempo ruim, e sim roupa ruim, né? Então, a gente vê que realmente nesses países você tem que ter isso na sua cabeça, né? E é incrível como eles realmente colocaram isso e se adaptaram nisso, né? É fantástico, realmente é uma visão que você pode levar para muitas coisas da sua vida, né? É a resiliência.
One rule to know about in the winter in Norway is the principle of layering. Now, this isn't just about wearing lots of layers. That's not what layering means. It's about wearing the right layers at the right times. So generally speaking, most Norwegians will wear a woolen base layer. It doesn't have to be 100% wool, it depends on how cold it is. By a woolen base layer, I mean long woolen underwear, top and bottoms. This is best brought with you. You can buy this stuff in Norway, but it can be quite expensive. If you're in a small place like Alta, where you don't really have the choice of where to shop, you can just go to one place and get them. They can pretty much charge what they like. So bring this kind of gear before you arrive in Norway. You won't always need to wear the woolen base layers, but if you're going out on an expedition, it's the very best thing to be next to your skin. The very best material is merino wool. Merino wool for me is a miracle fabric. I absolutely love it. The base layers can be 50% merino wool or even 100% merino wool if it's extremely cold. The next layer then depends on where you are, how cold it is, what you're going to be doing. It's t-shirts, long t-shirts, fleeces, thick jumpers, whatever you need. And this is where you change depending on the circumstances. You change that middle layer. Then you have a top outer layer. Generally, this needs to be waterproof and windproof. Doesn't necessarily need to be thick and bulky. This is padded. I also have another jacket with me that's a bit lighter, but it's still windproof. That's the most important thing because it keeps that chilly wind from penetrating. And together with what's covering your body, a neck gaiter or scarf, something like this. Again, this is quite thin, but it just stops, it wraps around the neck and it stops the wind coming in here, which is one of the places that they can get very, very cold. If you're not wearing anything on your neck, the cold will seep in here. And then of course, gloves. Now, I'm not actually wearing any right now, so this is a case of do as I say, not do as I do. It's because I'm filming this video, but as soon as this video is over, my gloves are going back on. Then a hat, of course, wool is best. But anything that you're comfortable with, you could consider bringing a thin hat and a thick hat, just like with the gloves. Socks, also super important. Double up in the evening. Woolen socks are great, but as long as you're wearing 2 pairs of socks, again, a thin pair close to the skin, wool, and a thicker pair to keep them warm. That really makes a difference. The right footwear, of course, as well. Something to consider if you do get cold very easily is hand warmers. These little handheld packs that are very popular now. They're quite cheap to buy in sport shops. That's pretty.
Uau, realmente é muito importante que ele dê destaque para essa dica, porque é preciso estar bem preparado para o inverno. Os países Noruega e os países próximos realmente são bem frios. Não é o primeiro vídeo que a gente vê alguém recomendando, né, esse tipo de roupa, mas realmente é muito importante, principalmente se a gente estiver falando de pessoas como nós, por exemplo, que saem de um país tropical para ir para um país como a Noruega, que é lindo, é maravilhoso, mas realmente precisa se proteger do frio porque é muito intenso.
Verdade. Agora me pergunto se essas roupas, esses acessórios assim para o frio, se é muito caro lá, né? Porque isso é praticamente um item essencial para eles, né?
Pretty much it. I don't think I'm missing anything, but perhaps you can let me know in the comments if I've missed anything out. So a little introduction on what to wear in Norway. I hope this helps you know what to bring if you're coming here in the winter. You're better bringing everything and then it actually end up being mild and you not need it than the other way around. You decide not to bother, you get here and it's -20, you go on a Northern Lights trip and you have to stay in the bus because it's too cold for you to be out. That would be a disaster. So invest in some good quality clothing, bring an extra bag if you need to, and you're going to have a great time, whatever the Norwegian winter throws at you. Before moving on, if you find this video useful, please consider supporting me and the channel on Patreon. Backers get early access to videos and exclusive Norway travel tips from yours truly, a travel writer who's lived in Norway for 14 years now. Number 3. Understand the Northern Lights. Images like this help sell Northern Lights tours, but they're not what you really see.
Perfeito.
So if you've come to Norway in the winter just to see aurora, take some time first to prepare yourself and set appropriate expectations. The Northern Lights are unpredictable, and no 2 displays are ever the same. While some nights do bring vivid green ribbons with hints of pink and purple dancing across the sky, many other times the aurora may just appear as a faint, barely moving glow or haze. Unlike the dramatic images captured on camera, what you see with the eye depends on several factors, including light pollution, atmospheric conditions, and how well your eyes have adjusted to the darkness. The key to a rewarding experience is patience, giving your eyes time to adapt and understanding that even a subtle display is part of this incredible natural phenomenon. I've got loads more to say about the Northern Lights. Let me know down in the comments if you think I should make a video all about hunting the Northern Lights in northern Norway. I'm now in Harstad, still in northern Norway, and as you can probably tell from the sunshine, it's a lovely, lovely morning. It's still cold, it's a couple of degrees above freezing, but that means there's a lot of ice underfoot. So the next thing to learn about visiting Norway in the winter, especially in the north, is how to walk on ice properly. Fresh snowfall can be beautiful, but it can also be treacherous. When I first moved to Norway, I thought ice was just, well, ice. But I quickly learned there are many kinds, and some are worse than others. In Norwegian cities, paths are often treated with grit, which means they can still be slippery. The safest way to walk on ice is simply to avoid it wherever possible, even if you have to walk the long way around. To stay extra safe, grab a pair of detachable ice grips for your shoes. You can find them at most supermarkets or outdoor shops in Norway, and they're worth every krone. If, for whatever reason, you must walk on ice, walk like a penguin. Lean slightly forward and take small steps. Number 5.
É interessante isso, porque realmente acredito que deve ter muitas calçadas, chãos assim com gelo, mas é interessante porque em nenhum outro vídeo eu me lembro de ter visto alguém falando sobre esse acessório do sapato. E realmente é uma coisa que deve ser muito útil, né?
Sim, e extremamente importante. Porque se o chão está gelado e tem neve, tem gelo, a possibilidade de você molhar o tênis é muito grande. Então, eu acredito que seja muito importante usar esse protetor.
Eu acredito que o tênis deles deve ser impermeável. Acho que devido a essa questão de neve, talvez seja um material diferente do nosso, não sei.
Embrace the darkness. If you visit in December or January, expect a limited daylight. When it is light, make the most of the breathtaking scenery. The magical blue hour creates some of the most stunning landscapes you'll ever see. And of course, winter's darkness creates the perfect conditions for seeing the northern lights dance across the sky. On a good night, it's one of the most unforgettable experiences Norway has to offer. Number 6. Make the most of winter activities. Norway is a playground in the winter. You don't have to get active, but if you do, you'll be truly embracing the Scandinavian way of life during this time of year. Dog sledding in Norway is a hugely popular activity and should be booked well in advance. Visits to the camps where the dogs live are also enjoyable, even if you don't join a sled trip. Other popular activities include visiting a Sami village to learn more about their fascinating culture, and visiting an ice hotel packed full of remarkable ice sculptures. If you're visiting cities, why not check out an ice hockey match? The season runs all through the winter. There's also local ice rinks for skating. These are often outdoors. For a taste of the fjords, without worrying about driving on icy roads, take the train from Bergen towards Oslo, connecting at Myrdal to join the Flåm Railway. The scenery here is truly spectacular in winter, and, unlike summer, you might have the train virtually to yourself. The fjord views down in Flåm speak for themselves.
É incrível, ele simplesmente pegou um trem e parece que ele está dentro de um filme, porque os cenários são, eu não tenho nem palavra, deslumbrante, né? Realmente fantástico.
Number 7. Have a flexible attitude. Norway's authorities are well prepared for winter weather, keeping roads, railways, and airports running smoothly even in severe weather. However, nature does still have the final say, and storms, heavy snowfall, or icy conditions can still cause delays or cancellations. The key to a stress-free winter trip in Norway is flexibility, Be prepared for last-minute changes to schedules and have a backup plan, just in case. Planning ahead is important, especially when it comes to daylight hours. With shorter days in the depths of winter, making the most of the available light is really important for sightseeing and outdoor activities. Websites and apps like ir.no, Norway's go-to weather forecast, which is also available in English, will help you track conditions and alert you to any possible issues, while Tour is handy for checking public transport schedules in advance. I hope you enjoyed this guide to visiting Norway in the winter and it proves useful in planning your own winter adventure. Now, I've taken the Norwegian coastal route in the winter and it was an incredible experience. Watch this video next to see the...
Né, realmente é fantástico. As capturas que ele realizou das imagens são muito bonitas. A Noruega é um país muito, muito bonito. E são dicas muito interessantes. A gente realmente deve levar em consideração principalmente os equipamentos para o frio, mas também a possibilidade de aproveitar um inverno na Noruega. Ele mesmo disse que existem muitas atividades para se fazer no frio por lá e eu acredito que deve ser encantador passar o inverno na Noruega. Deve ser algo místico.
É verdade, eu fico encantada, né? Porque é um país que é bonito em todas as estações, né? Mas confesso que o inverno aqui a gente viu realmente é uma coisa encantadora, mas realmente é interessante, né? Porque a gente vê que tem muitas coisas que a gente nem se atenta, né? Sobre essa questão de inverno. Mas incrível, fantástico, deve ser uma experiência de outro mundo passar o inverno na Noruega. Mas essa foi a reação desse vídeo, então se você gostou, aproveita para se inscrever, ative as notificações e deixe mais sugestões lá no nosso Instagram.
Muito obrigado por assistir esse vídeo e a gente se vê na próxima reação.
Tchau!